Do 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 do. Crime time
with my bestie.
I'm Jess Vandertuck, and this is Anna Riches, and we are Crime Time with a Bestie. Hi, Bestie.
Hi, bestie.
How did I do?
I mean, I think it sounded the same. For listeners, Jess has been listening back to our previous recordings because my hoop instructor, Zoe, shout out to her, at first said that Jess could nail the intro and it sounded the same every single time. She thought it was a recording. And then last time she mentioned it, she was like, I think it is sounding a little bit different now. I think I'm just getting used to your voices. And Jess was like, no.
No, I've listened
So
back, and I don't know what happened. Somewhere in the first 5 episodes, I was like at a very like do 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 do, and then it somehow turned into do 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 do, and so I've like changed an entire octave. I just got so excited with like podcast recording that I'm like, I'm so happy to be here, which is a very strange position to be in, especially for today, because I don't think either of us are happy to be here, which sounds really shitty, but we will explain.
It's a tetchy time today because we have technically already done not a whole recording, but we did a good 40-minute recording before at my new flat, which is meant to be all like, hey, sorry, the cat just jumped on the sofa at my new flat, and it was meant to be great. We all know how excited I am to have this flat. Turns out it's too close to the train lines.
Well, that's
and
the
it's
theory.
not even the train. Well, that's the theory. It's not even the trains that are the. Well, it is the trains. It's not the train noise that is the issue. It's the electricity that goes through the train lines that creates a crackle on my audio that we cannot get rid of.
Yeah.
And so I cannot record at my flat, which is just swell.
We're looking into alternative like theories. There was like, because at the minute you also don't have internet, which we won't go into because that's in itself that's in itself its own issue. So we was like, maybe we can just work around with like a hotspot situation. We were like, is it the hotspot? And then we googled it, and yeah, train line or electrified lines can like have like a weird interference, which does create a crackle. So it's very possible that it's that. But it means that we have gone with a very strange backup, which is we're both in the same house. We're in my house in two different rooms because we don't have microphones that are probably good enough for us to record together and pick it up on two different tracks, and don't have the equipment for it, but also have had to separate ourselves so that because we're loud, we don't possibly pick each other up. So I am in the office in my normal setup, and you are in probably the original home of where the podcast started, at least for me, and you're in the living room, hence why you have the cat. Because I'm assuming she's now staring at the door, wondering why you've closed it.
No, she's gently playing with a toy, but by the door. Kind of like, I'm keeping myself entertained, but also, why did you close the door?
Yeah, in all fairness, yeah, she might have to be like gently ushered into the kitchen if she causes a disturbance. But the living room is one of the cat's domains, so that is like her. She's like, you're in my house, like surely.
And I am.
You are, but it's been a trying time to get this episode out, which is all the more hilarious for the we hit our 21st episode. We did it. We recorded it. It's not yet edited, I don't think. Mine's
neither is yours.
I know. I was about to say neither's mine for the 20th episode, and we were obviously so hopeful for our like go towards the 21st episode being our like pinnacle moment of we've achieved podcast greatness, and then everything in the universe was like, fuck you guys, 22nd can't happen, you basically jinxed it, and then everything and its mother has been fighting us to get this episode recorded, but we're here. There's no crackle, and I can't hear you from downstairs. So either my house is like, swish hair flick, great soundproofing, or we're in denial. And as the listeners will be listening back, they'll hear this tiny, tiny version of our voices somewhere in the background. But right now, I can't pick up on it.
Hopefully we can mute it, so if that does happen, it's not too annoying. But yes, everyone asks me, why don't we record together? It's just that we don't have the setup for it at the moment, because there is more issues with recording together. I think you can do it, but I think you have to be better than we are.
Yeah, and the people that you see on like online when they're like, if they're video recording themselves at the same time as well when they're in rooms, their mics are like ridiculously expensive, and my mic which I don't think I've told the story of my current mic situation on the podcast yet, but a friend of mine reminded me of the other day. So my current microphone was almost like a weird drug deal where
Yeah.
I bought it off of Facebook Marketplace because I was like, oh, this looks like it's not like the best microphone in the world, but it's better than what I was using. I messaged this person, I was like, hey, can I buy this mic for this much? And they said no, because I wanted a little bit less off of it. Didn't think any more of it, thought that's it, that's the end of it. And then they messaged me back and were like, can you pick it up today at this price? And I was like, sure, great, I will do that. Please give me your address. Gave me a road name. I was like, can I have the door number? And they said, no, it's a pump track. And I was like, what do you mean it's a pump track? And I showed up with my husband because I was like, maybe I'm going to get murdered. And there was a kid on a bicycle and a van waiting at this pump track, and I was like, either I'm about
and
to get...
a pump track is like a skating thing
Yeah,
that like goes
yeah.
up, and it's like lots of little hills.
Lots of little hills. This one is specifically bikes only, so I should have kind of like put two and two together. But yeah, this kid on a bicycle and a very creepy looking van. I was like, either I'm going to go up to that van and I'm going to get abducted, or this random kid on a bicycle is about to sell me a microphone.
And it was the kid.
It was the kid on the bicycle, but he like pulled this microphone out of his backpack along with a lot of other electronic equipment like headphones and video games and stuff. And I was like, has this kid stolen this microphone? Or is he like selling off his like things that his parents have bought him? Or it was the most bizarre moment I think I've ever experienced. And so yeah, my microphone has a little backstory. But it's still not the best microphone in the world, and you can get better ones, and they have to have like certain interfaces and big dock things that you plug them all into.
Yeah.
And it's all very professional, and we are on the cusp of like being very, very amateur.
Yeah, I mean, we plan to do some of those things in the future, but it's just about money. If either of our jobs would like to pay us a little bit more, we could do that.
Yeah. Or, you know,
or if we get super famous in the next episode.
Yeah, we could like, comment, review, subscribe, download, all those things that we always say at the end. And then we could afford to like, you know, have adverts and stuff like that. That means we could buy professional podcasting equipment. But we are still very, very amateur, and I'm still recording in front, like behind a cardboard foam board backing thing that I've put together in my garden, and it's fun and it's great.
I mean, I've just realised that I'm still on the original microphone that you didn't like the sound of in your house. Yeah, but in your house, so I might sound like shit now.
You
and
sound
I don't
fine.
have. Okay, I was gonna say, and I don't have the cardboard sound thing.
I genuinely think it's the most minuscule difference of my laptop versus your laptop. They're both MacBooks, but they're both from uni days, and mine is that slightly bit older to the point where I've got Google.
I think yours
open
is
right
like
now.
6 months over.
6 months older. And it's currently getting to the point now where it's telling me that nothing is supported because it's so old, and it won't let me update the OS, the operating system.
But yeah, mine won't let me do that either.
You're on a newer operating system than I am.
Yeah,
though.
but I think isn't mine like one or two?
You're one or two away,
but only because I had to go into the Apple store and was like, "Please make this work."
Please,
and they were like, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah, it was like, this is risky, right? And you're like, yeah, but there's no other choice because I don't have MacBook money. I don't even know how. Like, this was uni money when. I don't know about you. I got you could get like a grant or something to get you.
I think that's what we ended up doing.
But yeah, but I feel like, you know, we've had our rubbish rant. Well, I said, what was it? Our rage moment of the episode of the badness. And now we should go into our good news of the episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are a lot happy. Just as a side note, we're a lot happier than when we were trying to record last time. Because when we tried to record last time, raging, like actually raging,
and as well as we had to go back and add in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We had to
go back and add teasers in the previous episode, and
so they might be weird. So we haven't listened to that back yet.
It's just absolute chaos at this point. Like the fact that the podcast is still going and we haven't either killed each other or absolutely burned everything in sight is a miracle.
It's touch and go.
We're still here. It's fine.
Yeah, we're right. So, good news.
My good news of the episode. Are you okay for me to start, or would you like to start?
Yeah. No, you start.
So my good news of the episode, I'm going to take my ring off because I'm keep playing with it. Give me a second. I'm going to take all of them off because they're too distracting. I did think I had one of my crocheted... Anna made me a crocheted... Oh, there it is. Anna made me a crochet bag of dicks as a birthday present, and I found it on the floor earlier, one of them, and I'll use that instead, which is soft, so it makes no noise.
Why are they on the floor? Why aren't
think
they
it must have
prized
fallen.
possession in front of everything?
They are. They normally sit on the middle of my desk, and I
Okay,
think one of
good.
them must have like fallen out the bag and fallen on the floor. I found it, and now it's keeping me company for this episode.
She's just playing with a penis on
Playing
the
with a
podcast.
crocheted penis on the podcast.
I like you made the
small,
distinction.
dainty.
It is small. Didn't I make different size ones?
No, they're all the same. So that
I sh-
nobody
I'm
feels
gonna-
inferior.
I'm gonna have to make you like a monster one.
You're gonna make me a giant crochet dick.
Maybe. Why not?
Cool. I look forward to that. Right, so my good news for the episode is when we moved into this house, we left our old table at our old house, our old dining room table and chairs. We left at the old house because it was so big, because it was a large dining room, that there was nowhere to fit it in this house, so we left it. And so we got a free dining room table off of Facebook Marketplace, which is great. We love freeness. But it was getting to the point where it had been in the garden multiple times, where we'd been like doing this kind of decorating and that kind of decorating. It was starting to fall apart, and it was wobbling and really, really bad.
It served its purpose.
It served its purpose very, very well for last year. Sam had also accidentally like gone through it with a circular saw when he was trying to do something, so there's like a whole chunk missing out of it. It was in pretty bad shape, and we were like, cool, we're gonna buy a new table. And they were so expensive. They were like upwards of £500 for the kind of table style we wanted and size. And Sam was like, I think I can make a table if I buy some old scaffold boards and we can get these like metal legs off of Amazon. And he did it. He's made a boss table, and it's really, really cool. And I'm really chuffed with it, and it's really nice. And I'm really excited to have like a proper... He's still doing like a last few finishing touches to it to like seal it and things like that. But I'm really excited to have like our first proper sit down dinner, either with like just me and him or family at the new table, because it's so pretty and it's like
it looks really good.
It's a really good table. So when Sam does get around to listening to this, good job, babe. You did great.
Yeah, well done, Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a dick, but no, I'm joking.
Anna's
I
always
can't
got
be
to
too
maintain...
nice to him. I've got to maintain a level of bullying and banter.
In complete love. So what, me and Anna, we've been friends for
19.
What are we on now? Is it 19?
I think, well, because I'm not 100%. Is how long? We're 33.
It's got to be this year. It's got to be 20 years.
Well, this is the thing. When did we become best friends? Because I don't think we've established that.
We became friends in year 9, which is 13, isn't it? No, 14.
So I think, but then where do we... Are we going from like September, or are we going from... I don't know when we became...
I don't feel like this is something we need to distinguish on the podcast. But yeah, maybe if we said, let's say next September. So this year is 19 years this September, and next year
Oh no, I think it would be...
years.
I would say...
It's 20 years this September.
I think so then. It's whether it's 20 years this September, or if we're doing like from January is 20 years.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that there's the joke between you and Sam that you've been like known me for longer, and therefore you trump everything that he does rather than him. Because like you're the best friend, but you've been around longer, even though we're married and stuff. So you've always maintained like a love-hate.
I'm part of this. I'm part of this relationship. I don't know.
You're basically our like the third person in the relationship.
Yeah.
You've always maintained a love-hate relationship because you don't quite want him to know that you're actually friends. You are friends. But you yeah. So you always like to take the mick. You don't just actually hate my husband.
It's reciprocated. He's exactly the same with me.
Yeah. Can't be too nice to each other. Then you'd think that that you were nice. Ugh.
If we're nice for like a conversation, both of us feel very uncomfortable. It's better this way.
Yeah. So good job, Sam. You made a great table, and I'm sure by the time the episode comes out, we'll have had lots of lovely dinners sitting at it, and I won't be obliged to always want to sit on the sofa, because eating dinner off a wobbly table is actually very, very horrible. But yeah. Do you want to do your good news of the episode, and then I can give you the good news of the world?
Yeah. My good news of the episode is that I went back to poll this week. Yeah, this week. I'm like, when did I go back? So yeah, I'm back at it.
You're now on 5 hobbies?
What are we counting as hobbies?
Well, aerial hoop's one.
Aerial hoop, spoiler for next
episode.
Good news, but a certain choir that you might go to. Pole. Sometimes I do silks.
Oh yeah, silk, so that's 4. Crochet,
Crocheting.
that's 5. At least 5.
Reading.
Oh, that's 6.
What else do I mean, I've got lots of crafty hobbies.
That's a good...
Podcast. Are we counting the
No, this
podcast
is
as
a job. This is like... This stopped being a hobby like 15 episodes ago. Or immediately went from the day that we started our first recording, we were like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun. It's a hobby. And then it was like, no, this is a job.
This is a full-time job on top of our full-time jobs.
Yeah. And we don't get paid for this one. Big sad. Yeah. But yeah, so that's a solid 6 to 7 hobbies, which is quite gross, not gonna lie.
You've got just as many, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Derby.
Choir.
Is it?
I'm sure you've got more.
2.
Okay, well they take up a lot of your time.
It's just because I do so much in Derby that you deem it to be a lot of time.
It is like three hobbies worth of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, it's not just skating. I'm on the board. I do all these extra things. You go to games. You help. You have meetings upon meetings. I have probably more, just as many. Meetings. I have just as no, it's not true. I was gonna say I have just as many meetings with Derby as I do with work, and that's not true.
Almost.
65, almost. I'd say a good 65% of my job is meetings.
But yes, I went back to pole, and this has been a long time in the works because I used to do pole when I lived in Kent originally. So it's many, many years, and I specifically wanted to go back to this pole class, and I'm doing it. And it's really hard.
I feel like you've probably built your body to do the things that it needs to do for aerial hoop, and it's different from what your body needs to do for pole. Yeah,
it is. It's same but different. Like, it's slightly different muscles, but yeah, it's difficult. I forget what it's like starting over again.
Yeah. Damn, how are we already on 19 minutes? I looked at it 2 seconds ago and it said 8 minutes, and now we're on 19. So we're going to have to do the episode of the world, really. Episode of the world? Wait.
Episode of the world.
Good news of the episode. No, good. What am I trying to say?
Good news of the world.
Good news of the world for the episode, really quick, because there's people out there that don't like our chattiness, and there's other people that do, and I don't know if I care. But be who you want to be. If you're here for the true crime, great. If you're here for the chatting, then kudos, because it's never going to change.
We try really hard not to chat, and yet this is what has happened.
I feel like we've gotten to the point now where we chat well enough that actually there's not a huge amount of rambling to cut, and it's actually more concise and actual usable content. But it does mean that instead of it cutting before, it would take an hour to edit the first 10 minutes of the episode, and now it's it's taking me an hour to edit the first half hour of the episode, but I've kept 90% of it. But yeah, so the good news of the world for this episode is, and it feels really weird to say it because obviously we've technically already recorded this, so it feels like I'm using the same good news, but it's only, we've not actually said it and it's not been in an episode. But
listeners haven't heard it.
Listeners haven't heard it. So this is from the goodnewsnetwork.org, and the news is that they have created a they have found they can embed radioactive isotopes into rhino horns to stop anti-poaching. So they basically add the isotopes into their horns. It's completely non-harmful radioactivity, but it makes them impossible to traffic, because even if the person that cut off the horn found the isotope inside the horn, it leaves a residue and a signal that can be picked up by the existing infrastructures at airports and ports and stuff, so that they can scan it for that is used for, I must have missed this when I read it before, but it currently is used for preventing nuclear terrorism.
Wow,
what?
Yeah, you didn't say that before.
I didn't see that before, and I've just seen it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So we apparently already have scanners at our ports and airports that scan for nuclear stuff. So obviously, because it's radioactive, they can basically see it on the scan, and they would know that there is a horn in the cargo or whatever it is that has a nuclear radioactivityness to it, and therefore detect it, and then they can stop them poaching it, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and I thought you said last time you did this, doesn't it doesn't it also go a bit onto their hands, so you can tell who's the person that handled?
Yes, you're right. So it can be picked up by the person that has been using it, so then it would in theory mean that you could also catch the poacher. They've done other things in the past which I thought was pretty cool. Like they've put like this certain type of dye or paint or something onto horns
there
that
wasn't
like
pink.
there was like a pink thing which made the horn like unsellable, because then it kind of like tainted the sort of like peel of it, because they normally use it for different things, and they like use it in medicine, and sometimes people just want to display them, which is like crazy.
Weird.
But it should in theory mean that not only could they stop the horn from being sold, but they could in theory track the person down that has been the one that's poached it. I would hope that, like, obviously with them being pink, it stopped them from cutting it off in the first place. I guess this doesn't stop them from cutting it off in the first place, but it would help catch the poachers. So, and then as they start picking up on the idea that this exists, that they could then would probably be put off the idea of taking horns.
Yeah, it's like a, what's it called? Like, not defensive, but a deterrent.
That's it, yeah.
And there's also there was another good news that I didn't say before, but I think I told you when we tried to record this before, that there is a big rhino sanctuary that's like bigger than the size of London in, I can't remember where, but probably the combination of the two, these isotopes and this big sanctuary, that probably has saved quite a lot of rhinos.
Yeah. And then it also says as well, for anyone that's interested, because, you know, we like a little bit of fact finding? No, I don't know what I'm saying. We like facts and cool things that apparently it can... The isotope itself means that they can find a single horn inside a 40-foot steel shipping container. So I feel like that's pretty impressive.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, so that's the good news for the world.
Well, I am shocked. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
You know, right? Such good news. But yeah, it is a little bit bizarre.
It is really good news.
It's bizarre that we've basically already in theory had this conversation in multiple different ways because of the many attempts to record this bloody episode. But it's probably a good point for us to actually get into our episode.
Yes. And this, from here on out, I have not heard any of it because we didn't get this far.
Yeah, we yeeted the episode into the sun last time because we were like, no, there's this, the crackle came back and it was very off-putting.
But I don't remember your teasers, so could you tell me your teasers again, please?
Yes, so the teasers for this episode are Burned, Unidentified, and Norway.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. And so the sources for this episode are lifeinnorway.net, bbc.co.uk, unidentified awareness.fandom.
.fandom?
.fandom? I've just noticed that, but it is...
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
It's a wiki page, and I feel like they had some good sources.
Okay.
So I think it's like people... It's quite a... What's the word? Like, it has a lot of theories around it. So, like, the people talk about it, and they kind of, like, pulled things from across the internet, and so there's lots of, like, threads of information across different sources of people's theories.
Okay.
So I have gone through it in the research to say some of this is a theory and not confirmed by police and sources and stuff. We've also got, I don't know what it stands for, but nzz.ch is also another website, Wikipedia, and Conspiracy Theories Podcast, which I think that is the full title. I did listen to a podcast this time, which I'm normally one for just... It was good. They were very, very good podcast. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you do like an article, so...
I do. I find it easier to process the information
by
having it in front of me.
Yeah. When I do videos or podcasts, normally I've done most of the research and I'm just listening to them in case they've got any, like, extra little bits that I can add in.
Yeah. Triggers for the episode are burning, murder, suicide, graphic details of a corpse. Sorry.
That's rough.
I always find those ones really weird because I want to make people aware that it's coming, but I also feel like we're going to have graphic details of a body, and it's just like,
yeah. It's like, do I want to continue?
I'm going to go straight in and give the title of like what the case is about rather than like build up suspense, because I'm kind of curious as to whether you've ever heard the case. This case is on, and I'm going to hopefully pronounce it correctly, and what's the preface or whatever the term is. This is obviously in Norway, and therefore some of the names are hard to pronounce, and I will do my absolute best, but I'll probably get it wrong.
Spell them out if you can, and then from here on out, once you've spelt it out, if we've said it wrong, just don't tell us, because words are hard.
Yeah, and I've also in previous episodes have was it Andy Dodge? And I kept pronouncing it as Doge, and even though it was spelled
Yeah.
Dodge. So I will try my absolute best to remember how I've been pronouncing things, but there's a chance that it will change. But this is the case of the Isdal Woman.
I don't think I have heard
No?
of it. Maybe once we get into it, because I'm not very good with names.
So it's Isdal. So I would say it is Isdal, or you could say Isdal, but it will explain what that all means as we get into it. On the morning of the 29th of November 1970, in Bergen, Norway, a man and his two daughters were hiking the north face of Urken, an area known as Isdalen, or the Isdal Ice Valley. This place also had a sinister name, Dodsdalen, or the Death Valley, due to its treacherous terrain. So Isdal Woman is obviously because the location is Isdal.
Like a Death Valley woman, essentially.
Or Ice Woman, Ice Valley. If you get the gist, she's found in the Ice Isdal.
What?
What? Such a mystery.
Yeah, I don't think I would be wandering in a place that's called Death Valley or Death Ice Valley. Just straight up. I think I'm too fragile of a person to be in those kind of places of the world.
I mean, it's the same as like in the UK. Obviously, like it's a hiking place, so it's not got the greatest name, but also we hike like Scaffold Pike and Ben Nevis and stuff. And I wouldn't say they're treacherous, but they're pretty damn high.
I mean, again, I'm too fragile of a person to be in these places. I'm almost too fragile to leave my house.
Fair. So in the midst of a rocky clearing, they discover the body of a young woman within two boulders, lying on her back. She was found at an odd angle, described as upside down or with her head pointing downhill towards the valley. Now, I haven't got it in the notes. I've tried to describe that as well as I could, because there is apparently a photo, and I can't quite grasp the orientation in which she was found, because in my head, upside down is like your feet are above your head and you're like
so when it said upside down on a hill, I thought it's like her head is pointing down the hill and her feet are up the hill, and between two boulders I'm imagining that there's a boulder on one side of her and a boulder on the other, and maybe they're touching at one point but she's in the kind of rounded gap at the bottom.
So the photo, I'm expecting like really big boulders. The photo, if it is correct and that is actually her and not like a weird reenactment of some sort, it just kind of looked like a bunch of rocks, but I wasn't there, so I don't know. Her body was severely burned to such a degree that her face was unrecognizable and some of her tendons were exposed. It was also stated, graphic details of a corpse.
That was... Ooh.
It was also stated that she was mostly undressed. As a note, some sources state that her clothes had been burned off, but others it doesn't specify, so it's not clear whether this was from the fact that she had burned so much that all of her clothing had burned off of her, or whether she had been undressed before she was burned. So the sources sort of differed. Most lean towards her clothing had burned as part of whatever happened to her, and that's why she was mostly in a state of undress.
That's also not really a state of undress if it's burnt away. Like I don't know, it's a weird, what am I trying to say? That's just a weird phrasing of it. Because a state of undress to me is that someone's removed her clothes.
Yeah.
This is terrible in a different way.
I suppose as well, like I've never really seen many burned bodies. Would clothing burn onto your skin? Or would it just like burn off and like become vapor, if that makes sense? Like depending on the type of clothing, certain materials would like stick to you, but then depends that she was severely burned. So I guess that's like where the like maybe the discrepancy comes from, because if her clothing had stuck to her, it might be more noticeable. But if she'd been wearing something that was more flammable, maybe it would have just like poofed and
maybe
wouldn't have any like remnants or evidence left. The father and his daughters scaled back down the mountain to alert the authorities, and an immediate investigation began. At the scene, police discovered some personal items: a watch, jewellery, an umbrella, and some empty bottles of alcohol, all of which were arranged in a strange manner. One source stated that they also found 2 bottles of accelerant and 1 liquor bottle were at the scene, but again it's unclear if the empty bottles of alcohol mentioned are the same bottles deemed to be the accelerant, and there was also a different source that said there was no accelerant. So there's lots of like conflicting evidence, and obviously as we get more into the research, you'll see why the discrepancies between there being no accelerant and accelerant is a bit questionable.
Yeah.
There were many strange aspects of the crime scene. Within her belongings, her clothing had all the labels removed, almost to hide any indicator of the woman's origin, or...
Sorry, is this clothing that hadn't burnt off of her, or was there clothing as well?
I think it was her... what was left of the remnants of her clothing. Yeah.
There wasn't like some folded next to her, or...
No.
Oh, okay. So there's some clothing on her, but not a lot. Sorry, am I making you question it?
I'm making it question it because I don't know now, and I'm worried that I've messed up my research. I don't know.
Just
I don't
for
know.
okay. It's more I'm asking because to me, if you notice that the labels are cut out, there needs to be at least a fair amount of the article of clothing left to notice that it hasn't just burnt away.
Yeah. No, this was very the evidence was, and there'll be more. But this is very obvious that the clothing labels have been cut out rather than them being burned away. So if the query is, have the labels just been burnt off? No, it's very obvious to investigators that the labels have been deliberately removed, whether that be from clothing that she's wearing or if there happens to be clothing around her. But in the weird list of personal items, it just said a watch, jewelry, an umbrella, and some bottles of alcohol. It didn't. Sorry. But yeah, this could be an indicator of trying to hide the woman's origin and past, or just the possibility that it was done by the woman herself because of pure comfort. So labels are itchy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we cut them out because we don't like them.
I was going to say, my mum cuts all the labels out. She has no labels in any of her clothes because she hates them.
Maybe your mum doesn't want to get murdered then because they might find it really suspicious.
I'll tell her.
Or at least leave a little note saying, I cut my labels out. This was not their attempts to hide my identity. Otherwise they'll start this massive conspiracy theories like the Isdal Woman. The watch that was found was also noted as being at the time 10:10 or 10 past 10, but appeared to have never been used. So almost like she set that time herself.
Well, that's very weird.
In two different sources, it stated that there was no indication that there was a fire near where the body was found, but another stated that there was a small fire. So I took this to mean that there wasn't a big enough fire to have related to the severity of her burns. So there was no indication, considering that she was burned so severely, there was no evidence of a really, really big fire that would have like correlated to combine the two. So, and I suppose it's very strange circumstances.
Even if like her clothes were on fire, say she was alive when she caught fire, even if her clothes were on fire, I assume she would go down onto the floor and like roll around or something. So then you would have some evidence of there being burns on the floor.
You would almost expect there to be like indications of fire around where her body was found. And from everything that all the sources, that didn't seem to give any indication of that. Like it was almost like there was this little fire, almost as if she was trying to keep herself warm. And then some were like, oh no fire at all. So there's the query of, was her body moved to this location as well?
Yeah. Well, that sounds most likely, but then
I'm not gonna lie, this whole case is just lots of theories. So it's all a big conspiracy, and that's why I thought it was really interesting. Without any means to identify her, during the autopsy, the examiner determined she was 5'4", around 124 pounds, which I googled because I don't know anything about pounds. It's about 8 stone 8 for people in the UK, which I can picture that. Yeah. I don't know what 124 pounds means.
No.
She was between the age of 25 to 40, and she was white. She was found to have between 50 to 70, and now I'm going to have to really concentrate because this is like a medicine name, phenobarbital. And I googled that. That was my Wikipedia page source. So she was found to have between 50 to 70 phenobarbital in her system. Most sources state that phenobarbital is a sleeping pill. However, in the research that I did, because I'm a professional, I found that it was a drug that was typically used for epilepsy or seizures, but it could also be used for insomnia or anxiety, and in a more sinister use, it can be used prior to surgery as an anxiolytic. No idea if that said that right. Anxiolytic, an anxiolytic, to induce sedation.
So it's not putting you to sleep, but it's guiding you towards that. Is that
I mean,
kind of
50 to 70 of them.
Is that I was going to say that's my next question. 50 to 70 pills in her body.
Yeah. 50
God
to
damn,
70
50 to
individual pills.
70 pills of anything is not good. Like, of anything. Like, you could have 50 to 70, I don't know, vitamin tablets, and that's too many.
I think I've heard like a theory that if you take too many vitamins that your body will eventually just like detox them. I feel like if you took 50 to 70 in a short period of time, your body can't detox that.
Exactly,
like,
that's what I
something's
mean.
gonna
Like,
happen.
50 to 70 of anything that is even like innocuous that isn't that bad, that's too many. 50 to 70 Smarties is kind of too many. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot.
What?
Let alone
No.
I mean, it's not a lot. That's not too many. But do you know what I mean? Like, anything that's in that volume,
especially a medication. Yeah,
medication is insane. Who needs 50 to 70 of anything? And especially if it's some kind of sleeping tablet.
Sleeping pill, anti-seizure, epilepsy, insomnia, like it all rings many alarm bells in my head.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my notes. I know that there's more coming on this, so I'm not gonna spoiler it because I've done that thing where I've written it in such a way that it builds the suspense, and therefore we have to follow in the trail of thought that my head did. But that is where we're at. So, as well as this, they found that she had, and this is from the immediate autopsy from the examiner. So once they brought her in to try and identify her, so it's that autopsy. But we'll get some more in a bit. As well as this, they found that she had extensive dental work, including unusual gold crowns and root canals. This was not common dental practice for the region, and therefore it was an indicator for her being from another country. So we've now got a very strange woman in a strange place that is not from around here, with all these suspicious circumstances.
Yeah. And that's going to make it harder to find who she is because you're literally doing one person in the whole world.
Yeah. Her autopsy determined that she had died from the sustained burns and carbon monoxide poisoning, indicating she had been alive at the time that she was burned. So she'd inhaled the smoke.
But the 50 to 70 tablets didn't affect her.
I have this. I didn't have the freaking label clothing information, but I have this one. It was noted in the autopsy results that the quantity of sleeping pills that she took had actually been staggered, and that even without the burns, she would have eventually died due to the dose that she had taken either way. So their theory is that she'd taken them like at periodic moments, whether that be like as she was, because it's a mountain, so like she started taking them while she was traveling up to the location for what reason we don't know, and therefore even if she hadn't have burned, she would have still died.
So do they theorize that she was awake at the time that she was burnt, or
it doesn't say?
Because I was going to say that's a lot of pills, that, especially if they're sleeping pills, that I would have thought she would have passed out by that point.
It doesn't say. It did. I think there was one source that sort of stated that there was like, I think anything from like 7 to 12 of them that they expected her to have taken a couple hours before her death because of how they like digested and stuff. So it doesn't say like how long it takes for that stuff to take effect.
Also, we're saying that she took them.
Well,
not that she was forced to take them.
Well, that there's many a theory, and we will start to look into them now. Research. I'm so clever.
I love the way that you've done it.
The police had no leads, but as a stroke of luck, 3 days after the body was discovered, Bergen train station staff contacted police stating that a woman of the Isdal Woman's description had dropped off 2 suitcases on the 23rd of November into one of their lockers. The lockers had a 24-hour hold, which once over, they were then removed by security. The suitcases were also officially linked to the woman by a fingerprint that was taken off of a pair of sunglasses that was found inside the cases, and it obviously matched her.
So her hands weren't burnt.
It says it matched the fingerprint. Oh wait, it's literally my next line. You've hit my level of frustration because it literally says, I just clicked because like fucking, I got frustrated here as well, and I've literally put, now I did get frustrated here. As one source stated that she'd had her fingerprints sanded off, so who knows what's true. So I'm like, this is what I mean. I do appreciate this case, and it was really interesting to research. But the sources were so differing, and the information so broad and inconsistent that I did question. But if she's burned so severely, how does she have fingerprints? Yeah. But maybe that's a thing. I don't understand how like forensic evidence works. Can you still get a fingerprint? Maybe if there's someone in the comments like, can you still get a fingerprint even if you've like burnt your fingers? I don't know.
I feel like I feel like it depends on how severe. I mean, I'm talking out my ass because I don't know, but like I would assume it depends on how severely her fingers are burnt. Maybe they could
Yeah.
get a partial fingerprint or something. But again, I haven't seen photos. I'm imagining basically all of her body to be quite severely burnt, which then
Yeah.
poses the question: how do you get the fingerprint?
And the sources specifically said, like, they knew these suitcases were hers, and many of them agreed with the matching the sunglasses fingerprint to her. So I'm like, they can't have just randomly assumed that that these two suitcases were hers. Like, they know that it's hers. There's evidence in it that sort of corroborates that as well. But at the same time, I'm like, it wasn't like you went, oh, these random suitcases got dropped off by this lady, and it must be this woman that's died in the mountain. Like, they're like, nope, hers. So
That's
there's got to be
definitely hers.
something.
But then if her fingerprints are sanded off,
I can't even. I
What?
cannot. I cannot.
And has she done that to herself, or have whoever? Jess is just doing a face that's like, I don't know.
I'm just gonna have to like. No, wait. No, I'm just gonna keep going. I was gonna like give you some form of out so that it wouldn't be so like suspense, but then it would just ruin everything, and you just have to deal with it and suck it up.
Okay.
Within the suitcases, the police found various pieces of clothing, but more bizarrely, they also discovered 9 passports, multiple wigs, fake glasses, a matchbox from a German mail-order lingerie service, a railway map from Norway, a sewing kit from a Swiss hotel, and a notebook containing coded messages made up of a combination of letters and numbers.
She's a spy.
No.
But also, what I want to know, you probably don't know this, are the labels cut out of this clothing too?
Funnily enough, my next line is, the same as the items found at the scene, all the clothing had the labels removed and all items had been scrubbed clean of fingerprints.
Are we just the same person? Do we have the same brain these days?
I mean, maybe, but I like the fact that you're querying things that I have provided in the research, because I'm like, you need this information and I have found it for you, bar whether there was clothing actually at the scene. But yes, all of the clothing in the suitcase also had the labels removed.
So it's likely that she did that herself.
It's likely that she did that herself, but the question is, why?
She's a spy.
Wait, I don't know. Let's carry on.
Who needs 9 passports? She's a spy.
And multiple wigs.
Well, that one might just be for funsies.
True, she does have a matchbox from a German mail-order lingerie service, so you never know.
Don't yuck someone's yum.
Woo, woo. And what was it? A sewing kit from a Swiss hotel? You know, she's in Germany, she's in Sweden.
She's a traveller.
Yeah, wants to go about her ways and do fun things, wearing different wigs and multiple passports. Police also spoke to people around Bergen, and witness is. Sorry,
It's like, really good there.
I was like, weird there. Who is? Mentioned they had. I'm going to keep that. Mentioned they had seen the woman on a few occasions, including staff at her hotel. They said she had a gap between her front teeth, which I don't know why that was relevant, but every source mentioned it.
Maybe it was really distinct, like.
I suppose, yeah, like
when the tooth gap was very popular for models. That was the London look. Was the gap between the teeth, and people would actually get it like surgically done.
I suppose, like having a gap in your teeth or something, like a distinguishing feature. People are gonna pick up on something and they'll be like, oh, this person had this, like, you know, colourful hair or really tall. They're gonna, if you've got something that's quite recognisable, they're more likely gonna recognise you or remember you. She also ate porridge for breakfast and wore a fur hat. So I guess the
porridge for breakfast is a really weird thing for people to remember about her. The fur hat, I get.
Yeah, I guess this is the staff at the hotel.
Get a life.
Yeah.
It's a hotel. I don't like porridge, but like, who isn't eating porridge? Like, isn't that a normal? I guess so. It's not like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really weird breakfast.
I don't know, because it's also Norway. So what we would consider a weird breakfast, they might consider a completely normal breakfast.
Wait, I want to Google.
What weird breakfast?
No. Is porridge a normal breakfast in Norway? Google is thinking about it. It's still thinking about it. I think we might have overloaded your internet.
I'm Etherneted in the office, so I might get it faster. Oh yeah, apparently it's very traditional and a normal breakfast in Norway, so I don't know what their issue was. But that was what they said. She ate porridge for breakfast, wore a fur hat, and had a gap between her teeth. There was also, I think it was at one point, one of the people that had remembered her, she'd bought a very like unique pair of boots from a shop in town.
So these things, okay, sorry, I'm interrupting, but
It's okay.
that makes sense of why you'd remember that person. The fur hat, though, depending on how cold it is in Norway, that may or may not be interesting.
Was she wearing it inside? What if she was always wearing
was she wearing
it
it inside? Was it a specific colour? Was it everyone else isn't wearing a fur hat, they're wearing something else? That's dependent. Porridge, I'm stuck on the porridge thing. If everyone's eating porridge, why do you care if she's eating porridge?
I don't know. It was in quite a few sources. It was in quite a few sources. Everyone wanted to call out the porridge for breakfast, and the boots that
The boots
I
make
think as
sense.
well. The boots were a good one as well because I think they found the boots with her body, so it was kind of like we definitely know it's her. That like is in the witness that said, "Oh, they bought these boots from my shop because they found her with the boots." So it's like, yep, these are definitely the boots. And then the other thing that quite a few people also agreed with was that she smelled quite strongly of garlic, which I thought was a bit of a strange one to call out as well.
That is a bit strange, and also I've never smelt garlic on someone. Like, how much garlic do you need?
I've done it once, but only because and it was in Derby, and I showed up to Derby smelling like garlic because I'd spent the morning making salsa and guacamole, and so I'd been rapidly trying to like grate and smash garlic,
So
and I'd washed it was on my hands, so then I'm in like a Derby wall and touching people and
garlic,
and they were like, and at one point they just all stopped and went, "You do really smell like garlic," because I'd gone, "Oh, I'm sorry, I think I smell like garlic," because I could smell it on myself, and then they picked up on it, so it was very I had washed my hands multiple times, but garlic it lingers.
You're just wiping yourself on people. Nice.
They had actually, so this is the cases in the 1970s, and there's still people like years later that still remember her, but I suppose it's now become quite a famous case. They also noted that she was speaking English, but with a foreign accent. It didn't say what kind of accent. People didn't specifically say, "Oh, it sounded like she had a German accent or a French accent." They just said a foreign accent. And prior to her death, she was seen with 2 other men near the location of her body.
Okay. So she'd gone to the location of the body before.
This is near the location of the body. There's a bit of.
She'd gone to this. Did you say it was a hiking trail? This kind of
it's hiking, a hiking trail. There is one
at least
source,
once before.
Yeah, there is a source that from a witness, and I think I have it later on, that says that they saw her near that location, coming sort of down the mountain at a point before her death. All these details didn't give much indicator to the police of who she was. I mean, there's the porridge thing.
Apparently.
How much you could glean about a person from the fact that they eat porridge, especially apparently when it's in Norway and it's a traditional breakfast, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, oh my god, I don't know who this person is that eats porridge in a country that eats porridge as usual breakfast. It's like saying someone's like, oh, you're distinctive because you eat cereal in England. Like, everyone eats cereal.
As well, was it just the people that were getting questioned by the police were like, they're asking me about information about this woman, I have nothing, I need to say anything, and they're like, oh, she had porridge for breakfast, because they just panicked.
Probably. I wonder if they did.
Detectives mostly assumed that this had been a suicide, which obviously is a possible
theory. But then how are
theory.
you
Did you just yawn?
Yeah, I did. I'm so
Is it really that bad of a case?
No, it's not that bad of a case. I was up at 4:30 yesterday and I didn't go to bed until 1 a.m. last night, so...
I mean, the 1 a.m. was definitely your fault.
Yeah, it was. But it wouldn't have been any earlier than 11:30.
That's a good hour and a half extra sleep.
Yes. I still would be very tired. I'd still be yawning, and you just did a yawn too.
Fine, I'm just going to carry on reading my notes. I'm going to repeat the last sentence because I feel like I forgot what I said. Detectives mostly assumed that this had been a suicide due to the quantity of sleeping pills as well as the many steps she...
Sorry, that's what I was going to say, but how can it be a suicide? Can you burn yourself? Surely you would try and put yourself out. And how can you move your own body after you've died? Jess is doing a... Well,
it's like a well or a or a, I don't know. It generally vibes with that high pitchedness as well, so sorry for your ears. What is my point? Right. As well as the many steps she took to seemingly conceal her identity. So their theory is her removing the labels off of her clothing, multiple passports and things like that is that she has cut the labels out so that you wouldn't have an indicator of where she bought clothes from, and you don't know her real name because none of the passports, obviously, they're all different and stuff like that. And this giving some indicator that she may have wanted to disappear from the world entirely, which I thought was really tragic. I think I lifted that as like a point from one of the sources, and I was like, this is sad that someone kind of goes to such a length to be like, I never existed, I was never here.
It is sad, but I feel like unless there was other interventions or other reasons that she got burnt, and that was like she died by suicide and then something else happened, the burning of her body stops her being like she never existed. That's then made it a big thing, and that's really sad to say, but like,
yeah, it's a strange circumstance
in a hiking area. I don't think is that straight. I don't know, but like, I don't know how often that happens.
Called Death Valley, but it didn't say that it was from people committing suicide. It was because it was a treacherous terrain. So,
but like,
it could have been people
you could
dying
be
there.
More likely to disappear in that kind of way. But then once you burn a body, then it's instantly
like you're hiding
more curious. Yeah, you're like,
it's like you're trying to hide the evidence, and like setting yourself on fire. Like, if you could put the theory out there, you could put the theory out there that she fell asleep. Like, she basically took so many sleeping pills that she fell asleep, and then could have been like, if she had set a fire, that the fire would have started and it would have set her on fire. But there's too many things that don't match up, and we will look into those things now. Considering this, Swiss forensic psychiatrist Frank Urbanoink stated that suicide is very unlikely. A great deal here indicates the involvement of a third party. There are various questions that don't really add up in this case. The sleeping pills that she took had been taken in stages, some shown to have been taken before she would have set off for the valley, and then the last 12 taken just before her death. Why go to such lengths to take yourself to a location, whilst drowsy from sleeping pills, to then burn yourself to death, especially when the pills would have caused her death eventually anyways? For this reason, with this information and the strange items in her personal belongings, it painted a strange picture of her life, such as the many wigs and passports. Theories started to circulate that she was a spy, which is what you said.
Oh my god, I'm so smart. Also, I'm fully on his side because it doesn't, to me, that doesn't make any sense.
Which is why this case is so curious.
I could forget everything else if her body hadn't been set on fire. If it was everything else, I'd be like, okay, maybe she's still a spy, but like maybe she's a spy but didn't want to be anymore. But the burning of the body I just think makes it a more curious case.
Yeah, and if they're saying that there was no accelerants found at the body, that there wasn't enough evidence that the fire was big enough to burn her to such a degree of what she was found. Stop yawning! We've got another episode to do after this. Pull yourself together. Slap yourself. You need me to come downstairs and slap you in the face?
No, I didn't slap it hard enough.
Do it again.
No, I can't do it on myself.
Well, it sounds pretty vicious. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'll come downstairs and I'll slap you in the face. Okay. Are you ready for me to continue? Are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Just for Anna is now holding her eyes open with her fingers to make sure that she is fully awake and fully invested in my beautiful evidence of research, because I took time to do this.
I'm still listening even though I'm yawning.
I don't believe you. Okay. Please
Fine.
Fine. Fuck you. I'm going to carry on with my case, bitch. Police investigated further and found that she had travelled through Norway twice for several weeks, stopping in Oslo, Trondheim, Stavanger, and Bergen. Sorry. There's like absolute doubt in my mind that that's how it's pronounced. Stavanger, and I'm not spelling it.
Fair. Sorry, so this trip was 2 weeks through Norway, or this was before?
No, so she'd travelled twice, so she'd gone through Norway on 2 different times for several weeks, and then there'd been stops along the way, so it wasn't like she did a trip, it took 2 weeks, it's that she'd gone in and out of Norway twice over a several week period, and there had been multiple stops in that time, which included Oslo, Trondheim, and Bergen. She filled out her hotel forms for her stays, stating that she was Belgian. but always filled the forms out in German. Now, it says German. The way that it explained it in one source was that she used, like, is it like idioms? Like certain words that when translated were more familiar to like the German translation of it than it would have been like French or Belgian or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it specifically was like, it might have been German, but like certain words that could be used across, if that makes sense. So it
Yeah.
was like the German spelling of it, but the word was it was still technically almost a Belgian word, but was with the German
Yeah.
spelling or the German like use of it.
Okay.
She used 8 different identities across the hotels that she stayed in, which included, fuck it, why did I put these in? Okay, let's go.
Why did you put
I didn't have to include these. I was like, I'm going to include all the names, and now I've got to fucking pronounce them. Genevieve Lancia, Claudia Tielt, Alexia Zerna Merces, or Merces, Vera Charle.
I was going to say, you were doing so well.
Fenella Lorsch, Elizabeth Lienhauer. I'm going to take that as a win.
For the most part, you did really well there. I wouldn't have. I'd have stumbled at the beginning.
Jarle? Jarle. Vera Jarle. I'm gonna assume. I'm probably like adding accents or like in the wrong places because that's how we speak, obviously. British pronunciation is gross, but we also have weird words in our places that are sense. Weird. Like Worcestershire sauce. Yeah. Worcestershire sauce, which I can't even pronounce myself. Or like Leicester. Yeah. Everyone would look at it and they'd go, oh, it's Leicester. It's Leicester. Yeah. Or Hertfordshire. And it's like a Hertfordshire.
Or Americans just saying anything with sheer or shire at the end.
Yeah, it's always shire.
They always say shire. We're like, no, that's
Leicester.
Yeah.
Or
Leicestershire.
Like Hertfordshire.
Whatever. Yeah.
Or the one that is Edinburgh, but it looks like Edinburgh.
Yeah. I was like, how else do you say that?
Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Yeah. Okay. Everything's wrong. No, all the language is made up.
Silly.
It's all a lie. It's silly. Languages are silly. In the weeks and months before her death, she also travelled to Paris and to Switzerland. All these travels and destinations were eventually linked back to the coded messages she had in her notebook, deciphered to indicate that these were in fact abbreviated locations, dates, and times of travel. So she'd written down, like, because it was like a combination of lots of, she'd written down lots of combinations of letters and numbers, and they were like, oh, she was in this place on this date with, and that was what the code was used for. Which could either be... sorry.
I was going to say, I do have a question about the identities and the names she used. Were they the same names that she had in her passports? So the names she gave in all of the hotels, were they the same names that she had in her 9 passports?
Yeah. Oh, I think I've missed a whole line. I will just say it now. All these identities, though, were found to be fake, and the addresses she gave for those identities were also found to not exist. So even though the identities matched to her passports, the names and addresses in those passports were all fake. None of these people existed. And the places that she said that she lived in those passports also did not exist.
And sorry, you were going to say about the...
Oh, the notebook.
Yeah.
I think it was just more my theorizing of, it's like decoded spy locations. That's why she's decoding it. She could also just be very organized and like shorthanding her travel destinations, but
she could, but you don't normally do it in
it's not a normal
with a
thing
cipher.
to do. Exactly.
It would normally, if you're going to shorthand it, isn't there a specific, I don't want to say language because it's not a language, but when like journalists do shorthand, there's a specific way of doing shorthand.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it, like you've got, I suppose, journalist shorthand, and then you've also got like court reporter. They've got their like typey thing that does it in a certain way that they only have to press certain keys for entire big chunks of words.
But they're all the same.
It didn't seem, exactly. So I don't think it was like a code that she had in theory made up from what the police explained.
It is or it isn't?
Is.
Yeah.
They had to like decipher it. It wasn't like, oh, that looks like a place name and dates. It was only by them finding out the places that she traveled to and then comparing it back to the notebook. They're like, oh, this now matches up and now this makes sense.
This is why it doesn't, to me, that doesn't, if you're just a normal traveller, that doesn't make sense. You wouldn't create I'm not gonna, like, when I go on holiday, I'm not creating a whole other cipher to write down that I'm going on holiday.
Yeah. So I'm now going to go into some of the theories that have come up through the years and investigations and things like that. However, there is one thing that's kind of a big point, which is police did try and attempt to follow her path, but were apparently stopped from travelling to the other locations. So they tried to go to all the places that she'd been to, but they were stopped by the Norwegian Secret Service to stop them from opening up even more questions about the woman's identity.
Spy. She's 100% a spy. No, that's not a who knows. She's 100% a spy.
Who knows? So, one of the possible theories that has surfaced, which is popular among current day investigators, and when I say investigate, oh, sorry, I've literally put in the next bit. Investigators and true crime hobbyists, because I was going to say some of these are not actual police investigators that have come up with these theories, is that she was involved in espionage for the Cold War. Norway shared a border with the Soviet Union that ran for just under 200 kilometres. Bergen was also home to several military installations and testing sites during that period, or even the fact that there was a new missile system being tested along the Norwegian coast. There's also theories that she was an Israeli. Sorry.
A few moments later.
There were also theories that she was an. This is the 7th time. There was.
It's because you also were like, you're like, there was also theories.
There were also theories.
We were losing it. We're losing it.
Oh. There was also theories that she was an Israeli spy linked to some of the Norway's dealings of heavy water to the Israelis for their production of nuclear reactors. Now, I'm just going to say, there was loads of evidence for this, like tons of like her meeting up with a certain person that was involved with this kind of big conspiracy theory. However, it could have been its own case in itself.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to go that in depth. There is a lot of podcasts out there, there's a lot of blogs, there's a lot of things of people going into these theories specifically of why they believe that either she was an Israeli spy or a Cold War spy, including her location matching up to all these places that she visited, matching up to a specific person.
Yeah.
And it was very, very believable, but it went so far out in a completely other thread that I was like, this could in theory be an entire episode in itself. So I haven't included all those details.
And this is not what we kind of do on this podcast. It's like we touch on theories, but we're not delving that deep into things because we're just trying to give an overview rather than not an investigative podcast.
Yeah.
We're have some fun, try to string a sentence together type podcast.
But for the fact of there is things that have been brought up by different sources, like I said, either investigators or true crime hobbyists, that is the why that these theories have come about, such as the Israeli spy link. But there was too much.
Also, there's a little bit of like confirmation bias, I think, in some cases that like sometimes you're so focused on a theory that you're like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Until someone goes, but that's not why that makes sense. You're like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense anymore, even though you were so sure of it 2 minutes ago.
Because you find the patterns, and in this sense, again, the person that they said that she was heavily linked to, that meant the link between this Israeli spy for the heavy water production. It was because this person happened to be in the locations that she happened to be in when she was going to those dates. That could very easily be a complete coincidence. But obviously, if you're trying to find a connection, you will probably find a connection. So there is a final piece of evidence which came from a witness who had lived in Bjørgen at the time. He spoke of how he was certain that he had met the woman on Mount Florian a week before she disappeared. He said that she had 2 men following her. Both her and the men were not dressed for being in the mountainous terrain. So that was the sort of point I made earlier of people have seen her near the location that her body was found. So this person came forward much, much later. So he came forward like years later.
Okay.
Because he just didn't put 2 and 2 together that this was 1 her and that 2 that it could possibly be relevant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There is possibly supporting of this is the last entry into her diary date when decoded based on their sort of deciphering of previous entries. It stated ML23 NMM. So if you base it on her using this as like a location and dates and times and stuff of travel, 23N would be the 23rd of November, which was when she put the diary entry in, and then M is a Monday. So again, this could be them trying to find the connection for this to make sense.
Yeah.
The other entries, though, have never been deciphered. So the other letters in the diary entry have no meaning in theory from what the police have uncovered in previous examples. So there is a theory that these letters could be the code names for the men that she met.
Okay.
Which would then back up the story of this witness saying that he saw her with these men.
Yeah.
So it raises the possibility that these men could have been responsible for her death.
Well, yeah. I feel like that, to me, that seems most logical, because I don't feel like this was all her on her own. Because I feel like if this was a suicide, you would have seen a fire nearby her body. She's not moving. Well, I mean, I know we've done supernatural cases, but she's not moving her body after she's died.
So 3 months after discovery of the Isdal woman's body, the Norwegian police determined that the case was closed, that she had died by suicide, and there was no evidence to support that she was a spy, and declared that she had not been murdered. And it is actually they were apparently in. Oh my god!
Sorry, the cats just looked up like,
what the fuck is this
I disagree.
Noise? It even so. I think because there'd been so much evidence and speculation, it was actually in the press conference as well that either a journalist or somebody asked, "Was she a spy?" And the police were like, "No." They shut it down.
They've kind of got to say that, but I mean, I feel like it's quite clear she's a spy. Also, just as a side note, I've got spit on my keyboard from that noise.
It was very loud. We need to have a trigger warning for your that noise for people's ears. Apologies, listeners, if your eardrums just burst at Anna pssing at everything.
But I feel like them shutting it down is more evidence that she was a spy.
If it's a speculation, maybe, but if it's true that it was actually shut down by the Norwegian Secret Service, it feels even more a bit what you trying to hide?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but who's to say that isn't false? So even with this, people continue to speculate. The woman's identity still remains a mystery, and her death remains a subject of many podcasts, books, and blogs, with people trying to determine the cause of her death, as they do not believe that, in fact, it was a suicide.
This podcast is one of them.
We don't believe it. It's not true.
What do you believe, Jess?
Oh, 100% I think it's a cover-up. It doesn't make sense. There's no one's rocking about with 9 passports and multiple wigs if they're not a spy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's the passports that get me the most. I think the wigs are fine. It's the passports and, why would she go there when taking the sleeping pills? Why would she go up the hiking path? And even if she did do that one, how is she burning herself after the fact?
Yeah, exactly. Some people have questioned why her DNA has never been tested against DNA available in commercial databases, such as where we have previously spoken about familial DNA and trying to match her DNA through ancestry connections. So we've spoke about this in previous cases, how they've solved murders with a whole ancestry connection. But her DNA belongs to the Norwegian police. For legal and ethical reasons, they have chosen not to run this additional testing. So this is not just for her case in particular. Apparently there is a whole thing around Norway's use of DNA in this familial ancestry world, saints. So it's not we only will not test her DNA. They just don't tend to do it. It opens up lots of ethical questions. There's also questions as to whether she was a spy and had been involved in espionage, whether the Norwegian Secret Service has deliberately stopped investigations due to the possibility of unearthing some secret information that they don't want to be uncovered, hence ruling her death a suicide, which is what we already said. On February 5th, 1971, she was buried at Mollendal Cemetery in Bergen in a zinc coffin to make it so that if she was ever to be identified, her bones could be transported to her family or home. And that's it.
I don't know, that's a really sad moment at the end.
I know. And I didn't know the zinc thing. I'm assuming because the coffin won't perish and therefore that her bones won't disintegrate. Obviously, her body will if decompose, but
I suppose no bacteria and maybe air can get into it as well. And that's why the bones won't decompose. I know bones can obviously stay around, but they normally go quite brittle and
yeah. If you was to find bones in in the dirt or in the soil, because obviously if it's a wooden coffin, the coffin would eventually disintegrate and then the body would eventually decompose. Obviously, things will start to impact it.
Yeah.
I don't know how long a zinc coffin would stop that process from. Is it forever? I don't know. But that's what it said, and that was in 1971, and to this day, nobody has ever solved the case of the Isdal Woman.
That's because she was a spy!
Because they don't want us to know, because it's a secret!
They don't want us to know, they're telling us no!
Yep. Norwegian Secret Services keeping all the dirt and the good details from us.
Come on, tell us. We're all friends here, nobody will share it.
All the true crime people right now are like, oh my god, I need to know, please tell me.
Yeah. We're not very good with unsolved things, are we?
Yeah, I must admit, when I was doing this case, I do think this might be our first episode where we've done an unsolved case, or at least doesn't have a, like, ending in that way. There is no...
Well, our last two episodes.
Oh, I suppose you're right. Sorry, you are correct. Yeah, they don't have a killer or anything like that. So yeah, that's very inaccurate.
We have a theory, but I suppose beyond this is because those
unsolved the fact that there's nothing.
Yeah,
there's
and also we
nothing.
didn't really pick those episodes. I mean, I know we picked them, but we picked them together. Whereas this is the first one that you're presenting to me as an unsolved case.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But yeah.
Well, that was a really good case. I definitely think she's a spy.
I think she's a spy. But of course we're going to think that because it's more...
That's what we've been told. That's what we've been
told that. Because the easiest thing would just to be going, yeah, she killed herself by suicide, accidentally set herself on fire, sleeping next to a thing. But it just doesn't make sense. Like, walking up to a big mountain whilst periodically taking sleeping pills so that you could die in a mountain to then kind of burn yourself to death is weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Nothing makes sense.
No. But yeah, that's a pretty brutal way of dying.
It's horrible. It's a very horrible way to go. And the fact that in theory, if the sleeping pills hadn't kicked in, and from what they said that she died because of the inhalation of the smoke as well as the burning, I wouldn't want to be alive for that. I'd rather be very, very unconscious and not aware of what's going on. And I hope for her sake that was the case, because it doesn't sound pleasant.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that was a great case. Thank you very much for telling us.
Thank you for listening.
That's okay. Which way round do we do it again?
No. Don't skip. No, I need your teasers. We've forgotten so many times.
But that's what I was going to say. I was like, which way round do we normally do this?
No, we do the teasers first.
We do the teasers first. Okay.
I think that's how we keep forgetting multiple times. I need your teasers because I'm not coming back here in 3 weeks' time or 4 weeks' time to add them back into the episode. Give me the teasers for your episode, please.
Okay. My teasers for next episode are parachute, army, gas valve.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I mean, parachute and army could be linked, but they also could not be linked, which seems even more enticing. I'm like, oh, have they parachuted into an army base? Why is there a gas valve?
Well, you will find out in about 20 minutes.
In the meantime, you can... Okay.
You do it.
In the meantime, you can, rate, review, comment, subscribe, download, all of the above, and tell us how much you love us and why, we should keep making these episodes and such.
And if you want to see more of our shenanigans in the meantime, you can catch us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under Crime Time with My Bestie. And this podcast is also on all of the platforms, but most importantly, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. When we remember to tell YouTube that it is not made for kids.
Yeah, YouTube, for whatever reason. We haven't explicitly labelled the podcast as explicit content because then it stops people from listening unless they've got certain settings set. But because you don't do that, YouTube then triggers us as you should be private because you've got, you're about true crime, and then we have to set it to public without being, suitable for children, which is fine.
It will do that at random... Yeah, I was going to say, it will do that at random times. So it will happen anywhere between half an hour after the podcast is posted to 2 weeks later. So there is no strategic way of going to check. You just have to keep checking every so often. So
yes, for our YouTube listeners out there, we do apologise if you ever notice that you're missing our latest episode, and we will endeavour in future to make sure that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's been a wonderful 22nd episode. I don't think we said that at the beginning. So happy 22nd.
Woo! Go us. We have made it through. I'm so proud of us.
We finally did it. It took 3 weeks of rescheduling, ripping our hair out, dealing with internet issues and woes, and it just involved you taking over my living room and bothering my cat.
She's asleep now, though.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Give her a cuddle from me. I miss her.
I will.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Bestie.
Thank you so much for telling me about your case, Bestie.
And thank you, besties, for listening.
We've had a great time, and bye, Bestie.
Bye, Bestie.
Bye.
Bye. Here's your bloopers. We're poor.
Well, paw. Sorry, could you hear the cat? The cat was going at was clawing your sofa.
Excuse me, tell her off.
No, she's not. She's looking away. I don't want to do that. I want to sleep in. I want to talk to no one.
I've never thought of the concept of wanting to talk to no one. Fingerprint taken off a fair book. Wait. Blah, 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 blah. Is in the case. Fuck me.
Take a breath.
My God, read the sentence. They were all, wait. Stop laughing and then read the fucking sentence. So I don't come in and be like,
there was also
theories that she's a spy? No way! Right. I'm laughing because apparently I can't string a sentence together and read my own notes. And I've proofread these, which I don't normally do. Flying by the seat of my pants.
We had time.
We had so much time.